Hey guys, this is Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
We're here to talk about the messiness of life. It's ugly.
And it's raw.
It's real.
And it's a freaking game.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
This is us.
And our gift to you.
Hello and welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Tuesday, the most productive day of the week, and welcome to Whack-a-Mole Podcast.
Woo! Wackos coming at you today.
Woohoo! Okay. Disclaimer.
Sure.
We're grown-ups having grown-up conversations, so if your kids are in the car or in the kitchen while you're making dinner or sitting on the floor near you, you might want to chase them out because we are going to be talking about, well, I have a foul mouth, so that's mostly the disclaimer.
Yeah, and we're
And
live.
Sean agrees. Did you see him shaking his head when I said that?
Yeah, he does. She does. Well, I'm not going to lie to you.
I do have a potty mouth. I reserve the right to have a potty mouth.
You know, it's an expression. It's an expression. It's not like we're not here to have emotion, right?
No, cuss words just express my passion about things.
Yeah, I've facilitated a group on that, and I feel like a hypocrite right now because I've been trying. Yeah, because I'm all like, we're all intelligent people. There's 50 million other words we could use instead of.
You're eating those right now, right? You're eating the 50 million words to defend fuck, shit, damn, and hell. Okay, cool. Got it.
As we say, please turn down your radio and then turn it up when you're alone.
Tell your kids to go someplace else. That's all. Or listen before you go to bed or just when they're not around. Okay, sad news today.
What?
Sad news. Eddie Van Halen passed away.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
My brother, who is a lifelong Van Halen fan, I mean, since 1978, I think, yeah. I mean, he's obsessed with them. Obsessed.
What? Natural?
And he texted me and said he had cancer.
Shh.
It's not fair. It's just not fair. Now, I don't hear from my brother a lot. Like, he goes just MIA for a couple of weeks at a time. He goes ghost, and then he'll come back. And I was like, what's not fair? Now, I've been sitting at my desk all day with clients and doing other things, and so I haven't been, it wasn't on the news this morning when I had the news on.
Didn't even know.
And he said, Eddie Van Halen passed away. So I called him. My brother was hysterical, crying, like,
oh my
hysterical.
Gosh.
Same thing happened when Michael Jackson died. There's only a few, you know?
Prince, yeah.
And he was like, it's just not fair. It's not fair. He's 65. It's just not fair. He had cancer. And he had throat cancer some time ago. I'm not going to get these years and facts straight. I just know that he had throat cancer. I believe it was either in remission or he beat it. Mm-hmm. And then he got cancer again. But I think he was on the DL with it. Like, he just didn't come out. And there wasn't a lot of talk about it.
He wanted to deal with it, not in public.
Yeah.
Right.
And so his son confirmed by a Twitter post that he passed away. He is a guitar god. Eddie Van Halen is a guitar god.
Seriously.
Well, and was just so handsome. Oh my gosh. Loved Eddie Van Halen. He
remained handsome.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because that lifestyle that they was hard rock and roll and just.
Valerie Bertinelli, they were married for 20 years.
Oh,
I know.
I can imagine.
What a incredibly talented man.
Tribute. I am appreciative of that information.
With the devil. That's from their first album. And I cannot sing, so.
You did good.
And Sean left. He just left. Like, I just started singing and he left the room.
Don't be offended.
He left us in here with all this equipment, too. Look for us to be getting into stuff here. Okay, so rest in peace, Mr. Eddie Van Halen.
Very much so.
And
that's a legend.
Thoughts and prayers, always thoughts. I always think about the kids and the wife and the, just everything.
He has them
that
just like everybody else.
Totally. I mean, I think about the people who are still alive and grieving, and that just stinks. So
it does.
I am sending good vibes out in their direction. I don't even know them. But okay, so here's something that I've been needing to do. We've been needing to do and haven't. I want to mention two young men that when we decided that we were going to do this podcast, I had two guys in mind that I wanted help with. They happen to be best friends. They also happen to be, I call him my son-in-law because it's easier than saying my daughter's boyfriend who lives with her.
Yes.
It's coming. It should be anyway. Soon.
And I've got a baby out for them. I mean, that's to come too. I hope.
So
they make beautiful babies.
He has a studio in his little apartment. They live next door to us, and he's created this beautiful little studio, and he's into his music, and he's into
talented.
He's adorable and wonderful. He loves my daughter. and by telling him he's wonderful and adorable, I'm trying to
You're putting
secure
fuel
that.
on
Yeah. He does that on his own. He did our intro, the music for our intro, and helped us record some words too. He spent a lot of time being creative with that, and I think he did an excellent job. And I'm just so
He did.
It's huge to me that we didn't contract that out to someplace else. That I brought these people in that I care about.
Everything we've done, I need to say that these visions and these, accessing talent and things like that, you have had, and you wanted to keep it homegrown. You wanted to keep the family involved.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that they had your full support and passion, but they had their talent that we wanted to bring into this piece.
Yeah.
So every time we get ready for the episode, I'm not going to lie to you, and we got the intro playing, that riff is done by Tyler.
Totally.
His skills, and when you sit down and you just have conversation with him, I want to have it for hours. He's just so chill and relaxed and got a good heart on that kid.
Yeah, he's got
Young
a good vibe,
man.
good chill vibe. And he also, so it's TLC Studios. Tyler caught him at TLC Studios.
Love him.
Tyler
Look him up.
Landon caught him. TLC Studios. Isn't
Look
that
him up.
sweet?
That
He's
is really
adorable.
cool.
Okay. And then the gentleman who happens to be his best friend, these are Matt's words. They've been best friends since the first grade. Matt Gubler. What an adorable guy.
He is.
So
He's like
shy.
The
So
smile when you talk.
He's actually a student here at Dixie State University,
Ooh.
and he does graphics. And every time I talked to Tyler about an avatar, he was like, "Oh, Matt can do that for you. Matt can do that for you." So these two boys collaborated, as they do. They collaborate on their own anyway. They got together and they did this, and I couldn't be happier with our logo. He worked so hard on it with such earnest creativity. It was just honest.
From the ground floor up. I mean, when we talked about avatars, you can have your iPhone avatars, you can have your high def and all those definitive things that personalize you, but this means so much more. It's more intimate. And when he kept coming up with new visions of what it looked like and presenting it,
Every
it just
draft
improved every time. And I thought, that's it.
Yep.
And I just want
we
to
are.
thank Matt for keeping my boobs there. So
he did put me in a tank top, which I appreciate as well.
You
because
got some awesome
I do
arms.
enjoy a little gun action.
It's like
My skin is flawless in that avatar.
it really is. Yeah.
So Matthew Gubler and Tyler Cottom, thank you very much, both of you boys.
Gentlemen, thank
we'll put
you.
their information whenever we set up our website. That should be. Look for that in the coming attractions.
We're not lazy. We just have a lot going on.
Oh my goodness,
so.
a lot going on. And being a perfectionist, we want it to. I want it to be right and nice, and so it takes time.
It does.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. Okay, so we will be. I think that's all the business. Do you have any business?
No, I mean, honestly, this is my freaking go time. This is my relax.
I love that for you. It is for me too. But yeah.
I so many people send me texts. I don't know if you experience this, but so many people send me texts like, "Have freaking fun tonight! I can't wait to hear it." And I'm thinking, if they could just get the joy that we get ramping up, but throughout the week, Tina takes so much time and inspiration to come up with topics because. Again, these are life events that we've experienced or we can relate to in some way. And we're hoping our viewers can be sensitive and say, yeah, me too. And there are a range of topics because life freaking happens. Tomorrow is going to be different than today. A month from now, it's going to be different. Sean, and my wisdom to you, to be honest, your life's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
So, I think... through evolution, we got to be able to be going through change and not resist it,
Totally. We are, that's kind of a good segue into what we're talking about today.
It's a big one.
It is a big one.
We're expanding our time on this one.
It is. And I had somebody in mind to come on who, and they couldn't make it happen. we're talking about body image, and this friend of mine, one of my oldest and dearest friends, wanted to talk about it. He's a gentleman, and I really wanted the male perspective on this. He had, speaking of body image, he had surgery today. Mr. Andrew.
Was
And
it
I said,
elective
"Oh, don't he goes?
surgery?
Yeah, no, it was gallbladder surgery."
Oh, sure.
So he
Okay.
was like, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'll do Tuesday. I have my surgery, but no problem." He's an attorney, and so in the weeks before, he's like, "I got a deposition that day. I can't do it on this day." So we designated today, the day of his gallbladder surgery. I don't ask me why, and I was like, "Dude, you don't have to. You don't have to." And he was like, "Oh no, I'm all over it. I want to do it." So at 3:00, I was like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, and he's like all,
on anesthesia.
he's
probably
just
still.
like, yeah, I don't have it in me. And I was like, well, okay, well, nothing like the 11th hour, buddy. I mean, I hope he recovers, and I love him very dearly, and he knows that.
He will be definitely a guest, hopefully live, but call in for sure because he gave us a shout out last week, and I can't tell you how much that means to me because Tina talks a lot about you, and I know that your personality and your warmth and dryness all in the same bundle package is going to be such an asset to bring on the show.
He's awesome. So
Body image.
we're talking about body image.
Who has an issue? Raise your hand,
Oh
John.
my gosh.
Yep. So we may pick on you a little bit because Andrew wasn't available, but at the same time,
We want a male perspective. I want to know what I want to know.
I asked a few on the way here just because I was curious about is it more women that deal with this issue? I mean, is it gender specific? Do we see a lot of people? I mean, I feel like I was naturally born with insecurity.
Oh my goodness. I think when you're born and they slap the shit out of you first thing, you're probably
I want to hear you cry, baby. Cry, baby. And you get smacked. Yeah, you immediately got smacked with insecurity. Is that what you're telling me?
I just think it's funny because, it's a violent thing. Coming into the world is like not all peaceful, and I mean
No, it's a scary thing. You're
squashing your skull, like shit's going down.
It really is. You're in a warm womb and you're getting fed and there's no light. You just get that comfort of sound and vibration. And then all of a sudden you're like traumatized with doctors flipping you all around the light. And you're like trying to open your eyes going,
oh, and
what the freak is this goop they put in my eye?
Yeah, they're scrubbing you like it's a whole thing. So we're fucked up from the go, man. That's just all there is to that. Okay, so
and downhill.
So I also wanted to shout. Well, I'll do that at the very end because there's another shout out that I want, and I didn't want to stop what we're doing here. We're talking about body image. When I thought about this today, I came up with several things, just of course in my own experience. So you're a kid, and I don't think it matters that much when you're a kid. Like when I was playing, when I was like 0 to I don't remember 0, but when I was young, like from a toddler, 5 to 11-ish, 10
right, your
or 11,
mind
I wasn't dialed into that. I just really was like, I wanted to play on the monkey bars. I wanted to play tag. I wanted to play baseball. Like that was where my body at that time was being used for my own physical
Adventure,
exertion and hunting and all that kind of stuff, like out in the woods with the boys.
Is
and
that true?
doing
You hunted?
Well, I didn't hunt, but we did take some sticks and go into the woods and try to
Build a
find
fort
mice
and
and
stuff.
stuff. Oh heck yeah, I was just such a tomboy. So there was that. When I became an adolescent, and stuff started changing, I became aware. I think I was thinking about this just last night. I saw a meme about, it said, every time when I'm sitting down and I look down at my thighs, I love what I see. Says nobody.
I was going to say, who the hell wrote that?
Okay, so I was thinking, I saw that a long time ago, but when thinking about body image, I remember that being, I was probably in the 5th grade and I was in Catholic school and we had to wear a dress. And I remember sitting on the bus and seeing like the movement of the bus shaking. And I was a runt. I was a skinny little kid, but seeing my thighs like ripple and move and I just felt that was so unappealing and so gross. Like I must be like, that was that I think is my first memory of feeling insecure about my body.
And not liking what you see.
Yeah. Also, I look,
and that's probably changed.
Oh my goodness.
On what feature?
Yeah. So do you know what your first memory of way back when, if you could remember something about the first time you were aware of, I like this or I don't like this, I feel good about this or I don't feel good about this?
Right. I wasn't in the home to where they prominently talked about your body's going to change and this is what you should be experiencing. There was no prep. So I learned on my own, and I had a tendency to, going into the dark, created a big masterpiece, so to speak. I'll give you an example. On females, one side of your body lumps up first. And I immediately thought I had cancer at 11. And I'm not lying to you.
That's funny.
So here's the thing. In the 6th grade, one side out of nowhere hurt. And I made it hurt worse because I kept trying to push it in. Like I wanted to go back in my rib cage. And it wouldn't. And so I got swollen and hurt. And I went home early. Like I skipped school the last half of the day, came screaming in the house, went right up the stairs, didn't come down. And even through dinner and everything, my mom's like, honey, your dinner's ready. Just kept smoking through. There was enough kids to where she didn't miss
has had
me.
trauma at school. Just saying. Just
yeah, just fight or flight. Get the hell out of there. That's all I got to say. Don't listen to that, kids. If you are listening, stay in school. It's cool. Here's the thing, though. My mom, she comes upstairs, and by this time it's bath time. It's ready for bed, and I've been in the dark, like since the night fell, pushing this damn lump back in my body, thinking I had cancer and I'm dying, and why isn't anybody helping me, and all these devastating things. And let me tell you the story about my period. Nobody told me that was coming either. I thought I hemorrhaged and I died, and I wouldn't come out of the locker room. And the coach was like, "Get the hell out." But long story short, my mom just lovingly giggled and said, "Oh, honey, that's called a breast." And I said, "I don't want it. Take it back. Take it back. Nobody can make me do this, right?" The first feature that I've always, and I still hate to this day, and I'm trying to correct it, is my overbite. I hate my overbite. My mom thinks it's my trademark, and I'm doing this Invisalign treatment to overcorrect it. I sucked on my bottom lip. I didn't suck on my thumb. I sucked on my bottom lip for comfort. I kind of still do when I'm sleeping, but it caused an overbite, and I hate my side profile. Hate it. There you go.
So
that's my most.
Well, I haven't even gotten into what I feel insecure about. Like today, I haven't even touched on that.
Can you meet me?
Oh, I'll go.
Yeah, meet me halfway.
Oh, absolutely.
Sweet.
So, but I did want to point out something that you said, that these are things, as you're saying, this overbite, which I've never. I mean, I know you're doing the Invisalign thing, but I don't.
You don't see it?
No. Okay, so in doing a little bit of
up.
research on Google, I just plunked in body image just to see what would come up. And it said, body image is the perception that a person has of their physical self and the thoughts and feelings that result from the perception. Agreed. 100% agreed.
Yep.
Because that will navigate me throughout my life and make me do stupid shit or really risque shit or whatever, depending on what I feel. Yeah. But it also says, often a person zeroes in on a specific area like the nose, breasts, or legs. In reality, however, this perceived flaw is not even noticeable to others. People who suffer from severe levels of disorder obsess over a flaw to a point of dysfunction. And I think that is where, like, eating disorders and things like that come from.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
So, or that, like, real dysmorphia. I'm going to use that word, though I don't know super too much.
Crazy
Yeah, it
things
is.
you can see on that.
So, for me, I look at it as in these different stages of my life. I think maybe we should call Amy in. Should we call Amy in?
I love it.
Amy.
So who is Amy?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi,
Okay,
Amy.
So let me introduce Amy.
Hi.
Amy is my beautiful sister-in-law. She is one of 3 girls. Yeah, there's 3 girls and 3 boys in your family. And She is my soul sister. I love
Love
her.
it.
I love her. And I want to also shout out and say that she does our social media.
Yes.
So she's always posting cool things, and she gets all the credit for that. So
Amy,
we
I
love
have
you for
to
that.
I have to plug you really quick because I was sitting in the airport and I seen your stages of awakening, emotional awakening, and I literally researched that for a day and a half because I needed that desperately. So I can tell you, yeah.
Good.
Look at us serving one another.
It really was. I was
That's our
like,
purpose.
what am I gonna? What I'm bouncing between stages of what I felt, but it was freedom for me when I realized I'm holding myself back. It's me. Yay! Yeah, it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for those.
Okay, so I would ask you the same question I asked Charmaine about what's your first memory of feeling insecure about your body or feeling really good about it? Like what's your do you ever look at something and go,
Yeah.
okay,
So can you guys hear me good, first of all? Because I am driving in the car right
you're
now.
fine.
You're
yeah.
doing great.
Okay, good. So I was thinking, when you asked Charmaine that, I was thinking, what would be mine? And I kind of just have these, it's weird what your brain remembers. I have these kind of incidences. One of them, I feel like I was at a bowling alley with like teenage kids. Probably I was like 13 or 14. And then also at a church girls camp. Or maybe, because we weren't allowed to wear shorts then. I don't know, but I was wearing shorts. It must have been in the bowling alley. And I thought, oh my gosh, my legs are so big. And
Like
all
your
the other
thighs?
girls, my thighs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all the other girls, their legs are really skinny. Like, why are mine big? And I remember sitting down, must have been, waiting to go my turn bowling. And I'm like sitting on the bench and I'm like, wow, when I sit down, they're even bigger. Like, what is this? And so I always had an insecurity about my legs when I was growing up. As a teenager, I thought, oh, I have the biggest, hips and legs and butt, and still do, of all my friends. And I just hated that.
So how did you manage that? Did you just not wear shorts anymore, or did you just grow a insecurity to where?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how I really dealt with it. I was like, well, I guess this is just my friends have skinny legs and I don't. But
I love that, Amy. But did you change anything to accommodate for that?
No, I don't. I didn't think there
That's
was
awesome.
anything I could do.
That is really
I
good.
I love food too much to have a low calorie diet, so I did do that.
Same.
And I did, like in high school, I joined the track team, but mostly socially because a lot of my friends were doing it. I was like, oh, I could run. That's easy. That doesn't take any kind of skill like soccer or volleyball. So, but I didn't do it to like make my legs smaller. I was just like, well, this is how I am. But
we're going to be posting a picture of Amy later.
Yeah,
no, just kidding.
that's really a very healthy. Thank you for sharing that, because for me, when I realized that my thighs were bouncing along with the bus, I made sure after that I wasn't sitting next to a boy on the bus ever after that in that dress. And I also, it changed my bus riding forever. And it sounds silly, but I remember thinking, I just want to sit next to a girl if I'm wearing shorts. And I did a lot of growing up in Southern California, so we wore shorts to school.
Oh yeah.
And I just always,
you hit it. You tried
totally,
to avoid. Yeah.
Totally. Or I would stand in front of boys rather than.
Right.
And I wasn't even obese. It's just this little glitch in my system. It was like a little switch that just went click. Now you have this, and so now you have to have this other adapted pattern in order to be, for your life to be manageable, which is completely unmanageable, really.
After you're bringing it up like this, because I asked the question to Amy, I went to answer it myself. You know what I did? I mean, because I talked about the one lump side, and obviously breasts were my first thing that I felt insecure about because I wasn't prepared for them, but I've always felt like they were small because every woman in my family is well endowed. Like they used to, pinch me on the side boob and would always be like, what's wrong with you? Like, what happened to you in the family genes? And I'd be like, shut the up. Okay, we're going to go for a break, ladies and gentlemen.
Small break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
This is Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Raw discussion about the messiness of life. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Whack-A-Mole. We welcome you back to Whack-A-Mole. Raw discussions about the messiness of life. Now, here are your hosts, Tina B and Charmaine G.
All right, wackos. I'm going to finish this up at Charmaine G's story. How I compensated with the features that I didn't like is I definitely emphasized my other assets. Like, I liked my stomach. I used to have like a flat stomach, so I made sure that I would hide my insecurities, but I emphasized and I drew attention to the features that I really like. Mm-hmm. So people would give me attention.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I mean, we're all, yeah.
And they wouldn't focus on the side boob pinch, and they would actually kind of say, hey, I love your stomach, or hey, I love your butt. And it turned into like an object. Like I was an object more because I overcompensated.
Do you remember feeling like that was so effing important?
Yeah.
To me, it was so important. Like
I was validated.
Totally.
Yep.
And it's funny because now that we're adults raising girls.
Yes.
Well, raising children, I should say, because I'm sure it's with, I don't have boys, so I can't speak on that.
I can. And it's true. It's real.
I mean, oh my gosh. So then I start looking at the different stages as I was thinking about this topic. The first time my body changed, I've always been just a little runt. We were just skinny kids. And that mostly came from an economic standpoint. Like, we didn't have a lot of food. We had 3 squares, and they were good, for sure. 3 square meals. But there weren't any Twinkies or cookies hanging around ever, you know. So I just, we just relied on this homemade food, which was, I mean, we were sustaining life for sure. But there wasn't extra food around. So I was skinny. We were all skinny. The reason I'm saying that was once I became pregnant, my first pregnancy, and my body started to change, it really freaked me out. And I literally went into that thinking, I'm
going to come back out of this.
Say goodbye to that body because you're going to have it. Like, I was so naive. I didn't have my mom. I didn't have any other woman that was around telling me, it goes back, or nothing like that.
Right.
Nor was I turning to women for that. I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is happening now. And
it's
so
over.
Bye, ass, beautiful ass and flat abs. It didn't. And it did go goodbye for a little bit, for 9 months. But then it did go right back. And I was like, fuck, this is a miracle. Like, thank you, Jesus. I'm not kidding. I was like, thank you, Dad. I hardly ever thank my dad for anything, but I was like, thank you, Dad, for your metabolism. Thank you. And then it happened again. So, but when you're pregnant, it takes you out of a loop.
Yeah, it's a psychological toll for sure. Whenever not only are you looking at your body change, but you're growing one inside of you. And I mean, you get up, you want to faint half the time you're in a hot shower. I mean, because you're accumulating like double the amount of blood. But outside of that, like, do you want to hear what I did? I was so stupid. I took like my regular jeans, pre-pregnant jeans, to the hospital in my like take-home kit. Like, ha ha ha, it's coming back. What the was I thinking? That's all I got to say. It was back into maternity.
I would have loved to have been there when you were trying to pull them on.
I couldn't get them up past my
darling.
knees. I wouldn't leave the bathroom. My stinking Madonna panties that caught all that freaking trapped urine blood, whatever it was. It was
those like fishnet panties with the big pad.
Yeah, the big pad, and you got the nurse saying, you can't leave the hospital until you take a shit.
Fuck her.
And I'm over here going, I can't get my pre-preg pants up. Like, they're at my knees. I made him go home and get me sweatpants. And I thought, I'm going to be a mom. Mm-hmm. Like, this is my mom bod. Mm-hmm. And I literally afterwards, I went into just a depression outside of all that. We talked about that last episode. But I got back up and I ran. I love running. I was, competitive runner for
You
a
and
while.
Amy have that in common.
Oh, Amy, I can't wait.
She ran in the LA Marathon. Yay, Amy.
Oh my
Yeah.
hell, you're a freaking stallion. I'm so
Yeah, she
impressed
is.
by you.
Thank you.
I'm a half marathoner, so maybe you can get me in to pull the trigger and do a marathon.
I'm a
with you.
no marathoner, so I'm a 50-yard dasher. How about that? Remember the
These days I'm more of a Netflix marathoner, but
There you go.
Oh,
I
that's
did my marathon.
those are what I'm getting into these days. But back to the mortification, whatever you want to say, metamorphosis change that we have. I am not high. I'm
going to start calling you out on you mispronouncing words because I love it. It makes me so happy.
metamorphosis change that we go through as women, but we're like as an early age when our body's changing, we're seeing that we're struggling. Like I was talking to I told him my lover. I was talking to my lover on the way over, and I'm
Lover.
I said, "Hey, is this really a real thing for you guys too? And like what area?" Like, and he's like, "Men worry about their bodies, and women worry more about their face." And I'm like, I don't know about that. Can you look up some specs on that for me? Because I look up the most common plastic surgeries for women, and then do the same for men. I'm interested.
If I were
to know.
guess,
Yeah.
this is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Like as you're talking, I'm thinking, no. If a guy can get a boner, can get an erection,
I asked him, "Is it the
I
unit?
think
Are you
if they
more
can still
self-conscious
do
about your
that,
unit?"
and probably still see it, they would be like they're okay with that. Like that would be, they'd be like, I can live with that.
Right?
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we
Sean
do have
wants to
Mr.
contribute
Shonovan.
on that,
I'm going
yeah.
to start calling him Shonovan.
I got some answers for you. Most requested plastic surgery for men: eyelid rejuvenation.
Yep.
Neck lift.
Yep.
Rhinoplasty.
Yep.
Wow.
Chin augmentation, liposuction. Can't read that word too long.
Male breast reduction.
And then for women, number one is
Breast
Boobs.
augmentation.
breast augmentation.
Sean
breast
doesn't have any
implants,
feelings about boobs.
breast lift, buttocks lift, chin, cheek, jaw reshaping. There we go. So those are the top ones.
Dermabrasion. Isn't that flip-flop order? Like men are more worried about their facial features.
so interesting.
It draws their insecurity.
But
and
don't men
women
get
are
better
depressed.
looking as they get older? Often they do.
Let me think
If they
about
take
that.
care of themselves and I think men, I look at men and go, oh, he's actually a little better
Yeah.
looking than when I knew
More
him in his
distinguished,
20s.
handsome.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's go into the next phase. We've talked about pregnancy. That just warps shit and moves shit around in a way
Yeah.
that's just different, okay? But I do want to say this. After I gave birth, I went back down to a size 2, but I was breastfeeding, so I had a tiny waist and big boobs. The only time ever in my life has that ever happened.
stacked.
I either have
Lucky.
a fat ass, a big waist and big boobs, or a skinny waist and no boob mosquito bites on top. Seriously. So there's that, okay? But now menopause.
Whoa.
I mean, I have always had a decent metabolism. I could eat anything I want. Like I could go to a buffet and I never worried about anything.
Right.
Now, those days are so long gone for me. They're just gone.
Age is a factor. It is.
It is. There's things that are cheesy that were not cheesy before. It's not easy being cheesy. Never. It's never easy being cheesy. And I have a whole neck thing going on now at my age. There's like a... I
the
heard
lines.
Maria Shriver talk about it too. Her and Oprah were talking about, she's like, I have this like turkey neck or whatever you'd call this.
Gobbler.
Yeah. And she said, she gets like, not hate mail, but people troll her and they're like, why don't you do something about your neck? And she's like, what do they want me to do? Like take a clip and put it in the back of my
Take
neck
it
and
back.
just clip. Yeah. I mean, I look at stuff like that. I look in the mirror and look at that. But I will say this. I will say this, that Charmaine, that's Charmania right there.
Please
Thank you,
turn
Adele.
off all your cell phones before the show
Yeah.
begins.
Could
and
you please?
put away your crying children and anything else that may disrupt the
freak, Adele.
ride.
I'm gonna
Thanks, babe.
I'm gonna do a
Turning tables.
Disclaimer next time.
That's a song.
edit that out. Okay. I also, in thinking about this, here's something I would like to pose. The times that I've not, first of all, I'm married, as everybody knows. My husband claims to just be completely in love with me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak for him.
That means she can't let it penetrate her belief system.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
And he's completely attracted to me. There's no bones about that. He makes no bones. I'm not putting words in his mouth. These are his words. That
Like
he tells
lust
me, like,
attractive.
every day. Yeah.
Not
Like,
just
oh
like,
my
I'm
gosh.
attracted
Like,
to your
yeah.
inner beauty. I love your body. I love your sensuality. I love how you carry yourself.
All that.
Love it.
And me, I look in the mirror and I'm like, how could you?
Freaking liar.
He's got, what do you want? I am, and that's all me. That's all me and my perception, because I'm used to being a certain size. And now that I'm not anymore, it's easy for me to discount myself. So I just think, when I am more accepting of what my body looks like, I become more attractive.
Yeah, confidence
I'm like
exudes you.
Totally.
Yes. I said
Do you know
that
how
word
often I
right.
do that?
What?
Not enough. Like, not often enough.
What
That's the
gets you
answer.
to that point, though? Like, I mean, is it you getting courage enough to start to love yourself, or do you come in cycles with it? I mean, are you having that same argument in your own head and nothing's really changed because you're putting in freaking A for effort and you're hitting your physical physique?
Totally. All that.
And it changes your mental game at the same time.
Yes.
Like how you carry and how
And
you love
I too
yourself.
love food. Like pasta, I can't imagine my life without
Oh
pasta.
my gosh, I want some right now.
I know.
Let
It's Taco Tuesday. Like, that's all I can think about is when we're gonna have some tacos later.
I have a question. So, like, one of the things that I want to highly emphasize is your belief system about yourself. We clearly throughout this last hour have seen that what we feel other people can't see, and so when we hear those words of you're beautiful, oh my gosh, I love your body and all these things, it's almost like a immediate rejection of that comment. We cannot allow that compliment to come in. And I've grown a complex from that because I tend to not trust them from there on out, to where I'm like, there's no way. Like, what do you want? But why can't I believe that? Why can't I look in the mirror and go, I see what they're talking about?
Okay, I think I obsess about this, and not just about body image, but about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think it's looking in a mirror. If I can't accept that you feel a certain way about me, it is because I don't feel that way about myself. And beyond that, I probably look at others and find things about them to judge and perhaps not accept.
Right. Deflection for sure.
Yeah.
So when you
that sucks.
I mean,
like, I sit with that for a second and I'm just like, oh, you're a shitty person.
It really is, because, I mean, you don't want to discount anybody's compliments. I mean, for heaven forbid, they actually mean it, or they wouldn't say it. I mean, I've actually had somebody say, it's actually pissing me off that you're not taking my compliment. Like, can you just say thank you? And I'm like, no, like, I can't. Like, I don't want to lie to you. And my immediate reaction is, you're crazy. Or is that all you're looking at in me? Because I'm so hyper focused on, can they actually really see me and know my heart and know that it's so genuine and good, and all they care about is my physical outer appearance? Because that's all people see when you first go in for a job interview, first day of school. I mean, kids are cruel. We talked about that. You may not even have that first identified body image issue, feature that you hate about yourself, but somebody else may point that about you because they suck and they're assholes. So you've got the mean girl that's in there going, you are so freaking ugly, nobody's ever going to love you, and you downhill from there.
Such inexperienced people at that age. Like, in middle school, your teeth are still white, like, your shit's still intact, like,
and it stinks the same. Your shit stinks, everyone.
But it's like, who they don't even have the right to say that stuff, and yet they do. However, now that we're older,
right,
okay,
it's more important how people see me as my character and my value than anything physical.
Well, I better have something more to offer, is what I'm thinking.
Sure.
I better have,
you better love yourself a little bit more than the work you put into your body. Because I'll tell you, I always question, why did God give us the privilege and responsibility of having children? Why women? Like, why can't it be a man? Like, why can't their anatomy and their, the toll that it takes on their body, why women? Like,
You don't even have to have a baby. Just have a period once a month. Experience that.
They do in another way, because I've been told, like, don't talk to me for 5 to 7 days. You know that comedian that says, I don't trust anything that bleeds 5 to 7 days. To anybody. And
I would
die.
take a vow of silence for 5 to 7 days.
Sean, we're going to join you in the land piece that you got. So I bring this up with the other people will point it out to you because they're cruel or they feel insecure about themselves, and so they're putting it on you. So know that 15, 20 years from now, that isn't even relevant. So for our audience that, is in that stage of trying to fit in, trying to belong, maybe even going into promiscuous behavior just so boys like you, and you're willing to just give your body up just so they'll call you the next day, or you're popular, or those things. I beg you to understand that none of that matters.
And you can talk until you're blue in the face to your kids about that, because I do. I have girls, and the only way they're going to get that is by experiencing it.
I agree.
Just like we did. But it's hard to, you want to save them from
the fires
of
world.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to sit there and go, you belong. Please just love yourself and have that compass, and don't have to get that external validation from anyone. Mm-hmm. Your girlfriends and, what you look like that day, your outfit that you're wearing. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. Mm. But I do believe that it will build you as a person, all those experiences, even the painful ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shit.
That's
body image. I did a group. I facilitated a lot of groups. Obviously, as you can tell, that we're involved in behavioral health and programming.
I love group.
And I'll tell you, one of the exercises that we would do in this women's residential program is they couldn't wear makeup for a week. And it was co-ed facility, but not dwelling. And so they could see men in passing. And it was the hardest exercise for these women, because that's how they got things in life. They used their body as an asset, like as money, like a place to live, not only recognition, but clothes, drugs, things that actually put food on the table, because they used their image, their bodies as money. Mm-hmm. And when you strip that away and they're naked, like literally no makeup, no mask wearing, and they're so vulnerable, it's almost like they don't know how to connect with themselves.
You have to have something more than that. There has to be something bigger, because like everything else, your body's going to evolve. It's going to start out as a baby. It's going to end up like a prune. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Yeah. So for me, I feel like I just better be offering something else. I want to offer something else to the world that is not based on. I had a good run. I got to say, I really did. I had a good run. I really did.
You did good. And it's not over, Tina, but I think it does take maturity and wisdom to care more about who you are as a person than what you are on the outside. The world and the way that social media and models and things just carve your soul out for you, and you just want to aspire to be that thin, frail cracker that's getting paid biscuits. Because she
crackers and biscuits, and she's not eating any of that.
She's not eating any of it. Freaking carbs. But I'm telling you, like, it's sad because it's all around us. I mean, these complex issues that people get their, complexity of life. My daughter is
social
8.
Media filters. Yeah.
My daughter's 8. 8. Cutest freaking
She's adorable.
Life. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to tear up because I'll tell you, she's innocent. And she raised her tummy up, and she was getting ready for the bath, and she lifted her tummy up, and she's like, I'm so fat, Mommy. I said, who the hell told you that?
Yeah, where are we getting this from?
She said, I'm fat. Look at me. Look at my belly. And I said, Myra, I'll tell you what. You are not how do I reverse that? It came from her. Where do we naturally come up with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we talked about it. My legs shaking on the bus and your one boob growing and trying to push it back in.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
By the way, it's still only one.
Sean thought that was funny.
It's still only one. The other one never came in. I'm just kidding.
Everybody get a visual of Charmaine's chest. Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm going to do something about that next
What
week.
about, oh, go on.
No, I'm not.
What about Amy?
Yes.
She's just hanging about in the back. I want to hear. I'm sure you have something to say. You're raising children. You're a woman. You're a mom. You've been married. You've been not married. You've been dating. You've been not dating. Like you have something to say here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, quickly on what Charmaine was saying about her daughter, I feel like I tried to. Well, thank you, Tina. You introduced me to Dr. Shafali, the conscious, parent, the conscious family, the awakened family. Well, I'm sure I butchered the title, but I really kind of was like, okay, what does it mean to be more conscious, like of what I'm saying, of the message I'm giving my kids? So I put that into practice without even reading the whole book. Shame on me. But I was like, I took that and I was like, okay, when my daughter starts developing, we started talking about periods 2 years ago in front of her brothers, just very natural. This is what women, this is what we do. This is why we can have babies.
Right.
And I try to make it a point to all my kids, however their body looks right now, it's exactly the way it's supposed to look. It's not supposed to look. So if they have an idea of their head, like, oh, well, my daughter Mariah is very tall. She has a very tall father, tall men in her life. And so she's really towering over her friends. Developing faster than them.
Wow.
And I just want her to know, I don't ever say the word compare. I don't want to put that in her head, but I'm like, wherever your body's doing right now is exactly what it should be doing. You're growing perfect.
I like that.
I do
too. That's going to give her so much confidence, Amy, to realize that, that she's not, this image thing is very individualized.
Yeah.
God gave it to us.
And
I'm
then,
throwing it in there.
I did remember when we were talking about how I was self-conscious about my legs, I do remember, when you sit down and you could put your feet on your tiptoes sitting down so that your fat's not all the way.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I did do when I was sitting down. Like, oh, let me put my legs up a little bit, try to flex my quads that I didn't have. But I feel like, and one of the things that really helped me and still helps me about my body, because I love my big legs now, but I don't love my stomach after having 3 children. That's my big one right now, is my stomach. But
I hear you, sister.
I ran a freaking marathon. I ran 6 half marathons and a freaking marathon, and I did 5 Ragnars. All within a few years after my baby was born. And I was like, wow, and not to brag about what I can do. I was very slow. I'm a very slow runner. But I was like, wow, I can run a marathon, and my stomach still looks like this, but I can run a marathon.
Yeah.
And I can, and I can lift weights, and I'm, not the thinnest girl in my gym that I go to every morning, but I'm like, it doesn't bother me because I love the shape of my body, even though it's a little bit, maybe 20 pounds heavier than I would want it to be ideally. But I can freaking lift a lot of heavy weights, and that's an accomplishment. And
that's huge.
I'm proud of that. Like I just want to focus on what my body can do, what it has done. It's grown 3 children that are healthy. It's done a lot of good things, so I try not to focus on the few bad things that I don't like about it.
Right.
So that would be my.
Can you call me every day? Can you call me Amy every day?
I think that's awesome. That's amazing. And when it comes to your kids, we're also just like, rah, about stuff.
We don't want them to repeat.
I don't want my kids to feel pain sometimes. Yep. I'm not going to lie about that. But I do back way off and allow them to do that. Okay, so I quickly, Amy, do you have, what would be a mole for you? Something you overcame today, yesterday, this last week, or just recently? Quick.
Oh,
life's fire that you put out.
I don't know. I can't think good on the spot.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Tina. You.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been doing this bar class in the morning, and there's mean girls in that class, and
they'll get there.
I mean, they're not necessarily mean to me, but it's very middle school. Very, they're all clan together, giggling and laughing, and it's just so they're grown women, and they they look at the other people, and then they turn their back, and they're wearing all their Lululemon stuff, and like we're all wearing that stuff, but I made a decision today that I wasn't gonna pay that any. Yeah, no mind. So what about
Good for
you?
you. I actually took a trip and did some self-care this weekend and got some lovin'. So
Nice.
good on me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, all of our viewers. You freaking wackos. Deal with life. It happens. And
It
you know
is.
what?
It's
We
happening.
can conquer anything.
Love your body. It's beautiful and serving you.
All right, Tina B,
You've been
Charmaine G, and
listening to
Amy, and
Wow.
Sean D
With
coming at you.
Tina
This
B
is
and
our gift to
Charmaine G.
you.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on YouTube and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time for, well, whatever may happen with Tina B and Charmaine G on Whack-A-Mole. This has been a production from a podcast studio.